All right, let's dive into it. The buzz around Pittsburgh is heating up, and for good reason. The Steelers might just be on the verge of pulling off a move that could completely reshape their wide receiver room. After shipping out George Pickens, which already stirred a ton of debate, a new name has hit the rumor mill with force. Chris Olave. Yeah, you heard that right. The smooth, explosive wideout from New Orleans. And the big question on everyone's mind is this just another off-season fantasy? Or could it actually happen? It all started when a local Pittsburgh radio station casually dropped Olave's name in a segment, suggesting the Steelers had interest. That might have passed as just casual speculation, but when another report confirmed the team had actually made a call to the Saints to check on Olave's availability, the conversation suddenly got a whole lot more serious. According to sources, it was described as a due diligence kind of call. You know, checking the temperature, seeing where things stand. But even a due diligence call means there's smoke. And in the NFL, where there's smoke, a trade fire isn't far behind. Now let's be real. Chris Olave isn't just any name. He's not some average wideout floating around free agency. He's a legitimate game changer. A guy with 2 1,000-yard seasons right out the gate in the NFL. And he's done that while catching passes from a carousel of quarterbacks. That ranges from Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston to Derek Carr, and then dealing with instability under center last season. That's not exactly elite QB play, and yet Olave produced. And it's not just a production. He's clean off the field. No drama, no distractions, no red flags in the locker room. He's the kind of guy you can build a passing attack around. From a skill set perspective, Olave checks pretty much every box. He's a silky smooth route runner. He's got legit speed, and he's not just stuck to one role. He can play outside to inside, move around the formation, create mismatches, the whole package. He brings something that the Steelers have been missing for a while now, especially after the Pickens situation hit its breaking point. You bring in a guy like Olave, and suddenly this receiving core has new life, new possibilities. Kenny Pickett, or maybe even Aaron Rodgers, more on that in a bit, would have a real weapon at their disposal, someone who can win consistently and make things easier for the entire offense. Now, of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are some concerns, the biggest one being his history with concussions. Word is he's already had 4 in just 2 NFL seasons, and the most recent one was serious enough to shut him down for the entire second half of last season. That's definitely something to keep in mind. The NFL is a brutal sport, and when a player's already racking up head injuries this early in their career, you gotta be cautious. But at the same time, you can't ignore the talent. You can't ignore the upside. And based on how the Steelers have operated in the past, they're willing to take calculated risks if the reward is high enough. And let's talk about the money, because that's always part of the equation. The Saints already picked up Olave's 5th-year option, which means whoever trades for him gets him for the next 2 seasons at a below-market price. That 5th year is going to run just over $15 million, which by today's wide receiver standards is a bargain for someone of his caliber. Plus, it doesn't seem like Olave is pushing for a long-term deal just yet, which gives the Steelers some breathing room. They get time to see how he fits, how he meshes with the locker room and the scheme, and then decide down the line if he's worth a big extension. And let's be honest, if Olave comes in and absolutely balls out in 2025, that's a great problem to have. You'd much rather be negotiating a new deal with a guy who just proved he's a top-tier weapon than scrambling to replace a position you never really addressed. It's not like the Steelers are afraid to spend on receivers either. They've shown a willingness to pay when the guy is the right fit. The issue with Pickens wasn't money. It was the fit, the attitude, the volatility. Olave doesn't bring those same concerns. He's more stable, more polished, more consistent. But here's where it gets really interesting. What would it actually take to get Chris Olave in a Steelers uniform? That's the million-dollar question. The Steelers just got a 3rd round pick back for George Pickens, and depending on who you talk to, that might have been a bit generous. There were reports that several other teams weren't even willing to give up a late-round pick for Pickens because of the off-field concerns and inconsistency. Some teams reportedly laughed at the idea of giving up real draft capital for him. So getting a 3rd was kind of a win. Now, if we're comparing Olave and Pickens straight up, which to be clear, is never an apples-to-apples comparison, You could argue they're in the same tier from a pure status perspective. Both entering their third year, both with first-round talent, both with traits that jump off the screen. But Olave's the cleaner prospect. Less drama, more production, and a first-round pedigree that includes the fifth-year option. That changes the calculus. So while a third-rounder might have been enough to move Pickens, it probably won't cut it for Olave. If you're the Saints, you need to be motivated to move on from a guy like this. And right now, it doesn't seem like they are. They've got a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. They just drafted a quarterback in the second round, and they're trying to retool, not necessarily blow it up. Trading Olave would signal a full-on rebuild, and that's not the vibe coming out of New Orleans at the moment. That's why a second-round pick probably makes more sense as a starting point. It's enough to make the Saints think twice without being over the top. It respects Olave's value, acknowledges the team's current situation, and gives Pittsburgh a shot at adding a legitimate weapon without mortgaging the future. And if that's the price, 1 second rounder for a proven ascending receiver under team control for 2 more years, that's a move the Steelers should be all over. Now, none of this feels imminent. There's no word that anything is close. It might just be another one of those rumors that we talk about for weeks and weeks, only for it to fade into the background as other names pop up. But there's a different energy around this one. Maybe it's because of the timing. Maybe it's because the Steelers are clearly retooling their offense and looking for new building blocks. Maybe it's because of the way the Pickens deal went down, a quick, clean, no drama, like the team already had something else in mind. Whatever it is, the smoke is there. And the idea of Chris Olave lining up in the black and gold is enough to get fans dreaming. It's the kind of move that could shift the balance of the offense, open up the playbook, and give whoever's under center, whether that's Pickett, Russell Wilson, or someone else entirely, a go-to target who can consistently beat man coverage and stretch the field. And speaking of quarterbacks, yeah, let's get into the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Because if the Olave rumors weren't enough to get Steelers Nation buzzing, the Rodgers whispers have become downright deafening. For months now, there's been this low hum, a sense that something's going on behind the scenes between Rodgers and Pittsburgh. And lately, that hum has turned into a roar. There are reports, not just from random internet sources, but from people who are plugged in, that the Steelers and Rodgers have been in communication, that he wants to play, and that Pittsburgh is the destination. One of the more fascinating insights came recently from a biographer who wrote an entire book on Aaron Rodgers. This guy interviewed hundreds of people close to Rodgers, past and present, and while he's not breaking news on a daily basis, he has a feel for the guy's mindset. And according to him, Rodgers has made it clear to the Steelers behind closed doors. He wants to play. The delay in signing has nothing to do with football. It's personal stuff, life stuff. Things he needs to handle before diving back in fully. But the intention is there. Rodgers doesn't want a repeat of last year when his off-season plans became media fodder and criticism started flying before he even took a snap. So this time, he's keeping things quiet, staying out of the headlines, and waiting until he can fully commit. And from what it sounds like, that time is coming soon. Maybe by the end of May, maybe early June. But the pieces are lining up. And everything points to the same conclusion. Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that right there is why the Olave trade rumors hit differently. Because if you're bringing in a veteran quarterback, especially someone like Rodgers, who's all about timing, precision, and trust, you better give him weapons. You better give him someone who can get open, make plays, and be where they're supposed to be. That's not just a luxury, that's a necessity. And Chris Olave fits that bill. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Pittsburgh Steelers have officially confirmed the arrival of TJ Watt, marking a significant moment for the franchise and its passionate fan base. Known as one of the most dominant defensive players in the NFL, Watt's addition to the Steelers' roster is expected to bolster their defense and reignite their competitive edge. TJ Watt, who has made a name for himself as a relentless pass rusher and a defensive powerhouse, brings a wealth of experience and skill to the Steelers. Over the Past seasons, Watt has consistently proven his ability to disrupt offenses, accumulate sacks, and create game-changing plays. His relentless energy on the field and leadership qualities off it make him a valuable asset for any team aiming for championship contention. The Steelers, a team with a rich history and a tradition of strong defense, appear to be reinforcing their commitment to excellence by acquiring Watt. The team's management has emphasized that this signing aligns with their strategy to build a formidable defense capable of challenging the league's best offenses. Fans and analysts alike are optimistic that Watt's presence will elevate the entire defensive unit, inspiring younger players and complementing existing talents. Watt's journey to Pittsburgh has been closely followed by NFL enthusiasts. His reputation as a versatile and tenacious linebacker precedes him, and his ability to read plays and react swiftly is expected to fit perfectly within the Steelers' defensive schemes. Moreover, his knack for making crucial plays during high-pressure moments adds an invaluable edge to the team's overall performance. The impact of TJ Watt's arrival goes beyond the defensive statistics. His work ethic and professionalism set a standard in the locker room, encouraging teammates to raise their game. For the Steelers, a franchise with deep roots in hard-nosed football, Watt embodies the spirit and determination they aspire to showcase every game. With the confirmation of TJ Watt joining the Steelers, the team's outlook for the upcoming season has grown considerably brighter. The combination of Watt's individual talent and the Steelers' strategic coaching could very well propel the team into serious playoff contention. Fans are eager to see how Watt's skills translate onto the field alongside his new teammates and how this signing will influence the team's dynamics. In summary, the Steelers' confirmation of TJ Watt's arrival signals a new chapter filled with promise and high expectations. As one of the league's premier defenders, Watt's integration into the team is poised to make a significant impact. With renewed defensive firepower, the Steelers are set to chase success with vigor, making this acquisition a pivotal moment for the franchise's future. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.